welcome back. You're listening to WVBR FM 93.5 Ithaca's Alternative or on WVBR.com. Thank you so much for listening. And we have a very special interview right now with the band Pump Action. If you guys want to introduce yourselves.
Yeah, I'm Jack. I'm the drummer.
I'm Poppy. I'm the bass player.
We have two other members who unfortunately can't be with us, but we have Spencer on lead vocals and guitar, and then Trent on lead guitar as well.
Great. Thank you so much for being here with us. I'm Carter.
And I'm Katie.
And yeah, I guess our first question is, have you guys been listening to anything good or notable recently, seeing as this is a radio station? Any good recommendations?
What do you think? I know you've been listening to that Marcus King stuff recently, and I started to listen to that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
his new album. I know it came out a little bit ago, but I've just kind of had that on repeat recently.
hmm Yeah. Definitely a lot of Marcus King, Alan Stone kind of world is where I've been in lately. We just spent a whole weekend in a van with another artist and just kind of running through playlist after playlist. So hitting a lot of different tunes like that. But yeah, that like kind of new soul, new jammy world for sure.
That's really cool. I noticed that you guys also take a lot of inspiration from jazz, as said on your website. And I just wanted to ask a little bit more about this idea of like genre bending and like also how you incorporate different types of little snippets and works from different artists into inspiration for what you guys do.
Yeah. Do you want to take that one to start? Or?
Yeah, I think it's not really intentional when we're, I guess, genre bending, but I think that all four of us collectively come from such different musical influence and music taste in what we listen to and what we played growing up that it kind of just shows itself in our writing process, and we bring different things to the table that the other members might not exactly have under their fingers or in their ears enough. So I think it creates a really cool sound when four very different music tastes combine together into one project.
What would you say your oh sorry. What
Oh
would you
no, go ahead.
your
Yeah,
four music tastes are?
What I'm
each of ours.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Um, I listen to a lot of like soul, like funk stuff. I do like pop country quite a bit.
Ooh,
Um,
okay.
Big X.
Big X the Plug. I'm really big on Big X the Plug. Kodak Black is,
Okay, I saw you said that you listen to Kodak.
yeah,
Yeah.
big Kodak fan.
Yeah.
But I'm
Um,
all over the place, really.
Yeah, I kind of grew up in like a classic rock household and yacht rock, like Beatles, Steely Dan, all that stuff. And then my go-to genre now is probably more like folk and like roots sound, especially since we moved to Nashville. I think I've gotten even more into that. In terms of the other guys, Trent is our metalhead. He's really into like metalcore, bands like Era and Currents. And then Spencer is really into all kinds of different pop music, kind of from all eras, like anything from the Michael Jackson, Stevie Wonder, Prince World, all the way up to like Remy Wolf and all this.
McGee,
Yeah,
super into McGee.
yeah.
Like maybe
Hosier, you know.
Hmm.
Oh, sure.
So,
Mm-hmm.
so yeah, I think we're all in the Hosier.
Yeah.
So.
yeah, I was gonna
Yeah, it's a very eclectic mix, but I feel like if you do listen to our music in full, like you'll kind of hear snippets of those artists just kind of peeking in within different tracks.
I was gonna ask if there's like a collective, if the band has a collective favorite artist, given your different tastes.
I think so.
Maybe Alan Stone, but Trent doesn't really like
Yeah.
Alan
I
Stone.
feel like there's probably ones that everyone except Trent likes.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
Trent, when he's on his own, he's only listening to like metalcore stuff.
Yeah. I mean, he does have indie, he likes some of that like indie stuff, like Peach
Yeah.
Pit and things like that. So maybe there's a common ground there
Hmm.
more than anything, but.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're all very like respectful and interested in each other's music too. Like when we are just running the aux on the road or something, it's never like, I'll turn that off. It
Hmm.
sucks, you know. I think we all just kind of like that melting pot aspect.
Wait, that's so cool. You mentioned that you went from in Miami to where you are currently in Nashville, right? And we had a couple questions about that change in scene because it's like huge. And also, I went to an art school called Interlochen. It's a music school.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Wait, you know it.
Huh?
Yeah.
I did a lot of like classical stuff growing up, so I know a bunch of
Stop. Love
kind of
that.
went into that world. Yeah.
And a bunch of my friends are at Frost. Like
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah,
my
we did some interlock and frost people too. That's funny.
I love that. And I just wanted to ask a little bit more about like how it works. Like because U Miami is huge and the Frost community is kind of a little bit smaller, but also you have the opportunity to play like gigs all around the Miami area, which is like such a huge live music slash like party scene. And I wanted to hear how that change has just been like for you guys.
Yeah. Do you want to start or?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say that Miami was when we first started out as a band, it was more of like a fun project among like we were just close friends that we were doing a lot of cover shows. We were writing songs on the side. And then towards the end of our Miami career, it became clear that like most of the live music scene in Miami was either cover shows or more of like a reggaeton or like DJ scene. So we kind of realized once we decided that we wanted to take it seriously beyond just college band, that Miami wasn't going to fit what we wanted to achieve. We were looking for something so more of an original music scene. So we were eyeing Nashville, we were eyeing LA, we were eyeing New York, we were eyeing Austin, but Nashville just checked a lot of boxes for us, and it's definitely been a great change, better than I expected it to be, honestly.
Hmm. Yeah, it's just yeah, like Poppy said, like we are essentially we're a cover band. There's just not a lot of original venues in Miami. There's a couple, but there's probably more original kind of those small 100, 200 cap indie venues just in East Nashville than there are in all of South Florida. So it's just kind of hard to get started playing live shows in that scene. So we wanted to be somewhere like geographically central to a lot of different markets and places where the live music was more original centric, like Pop said, but also just like where we could grow different fan bases in different cities because Miami is so geographically isolated as well, just being all the way down in the corner of the state. Like it takes you 9 hours to get to Atlanta just to, kind of get to the next city out of the state. So it just made sense for touring reasons, show reasons, and all that stuff.
You guys have a when you were playing covers, did you guys have a favorite cover that you would play?
My favorite was I Was Wrong by Chris Stapleton.
Mhm.
Nice.
Um,
That was the first one we ever played.
yeah,
Yeah.
that one was really fun to play.
Hmm.
We played Disco Man by Remy Wolf a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
I like we used to do it all the time. We used to do a cover of Alan Stone's cover of somebody that I used to know that was really cool. And there's actually a YouTube video of that as well.
there's our
Um,
YouTube video of that, and then if you haven't seen Alan
mhm.
Stone's video of him doing somebody I used to know, watch it.
Yeah,
It's
it's so
so good.
good. And then also we would do While My Guitar Gently Weeps, the Beatles song, and kind of like rock it out a little bit harder than the record. And that was a fun one as well. I kind of like the ones that we just like morphed a little bit outside of the original,
Hmm.
kind of put a pump action spin on it. But since we moved to Nashville, we really don't do the covers unless we're doing kind of a private event. We're not really looking to do the cover shows as much. We're really made the conscious transition to be original forward, So it's kind of like a fun past to look at, but um, not really where we see ourselves now, if
Mm.
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
You have like original content. Like I was doing a lot of like snooping on social media, and you guys have like the funniest videos like ever. Like,
I'm glad you think they're funny. That's great.
and they're like doing really well too. And I just wanted to ask, like, who is the creative genius behind all this content, this
Yeah.
original content?
Especially the
Yeah.
Snapchat ones.
That would be Trent. Trent is our sort of our content manager. Yeah, I don't know. We kind of think he pioneered that whole like Snapchat as if you're watching someone else watch pump action kind of like lo-fi content. He also has another page that he's run that's for his own like lesson company. That's all that similar content that's done really well. And we've seen a lot of bands kind of take on that same style since we feel like we kind of started it first.
It was ours.
But yeah, yeah, that Pop is saying it more blunt than I am, so I respect that. But yeah, Trent's kind of our TikTok and Instagram guy. And then we've kind of recently had some success in the past 6 or 7 months or so on YouTube Shorts, and that's kind of been my endeavor. But most of the content I pull from was kind of originated from that Trent brain. So I wish he was here to talk about it more, but needless to say, he's a genius with that stuff and just finding ways to get people hooked. His whole thing he always talks about is like, if I can get you to the second or 2 or 3 seconds in, if I can get you at that hook and then you hear the music, I think I can turn you into a fan. So the hook and that Snapchat caption is kind of meant to attract you initially and pique your interest. And then once you hear what you're actually listening to and realize it's music that you like, you're sold. So that's kind of been the strategy. And yeah, it's been really effective so far, which is awesome.
Yeah, how have you seen that like social media? I mean, you guys are pretty big on especially on Instagram and TikTok. How have you seen that social media sort of like impact your, I guess, success as a band and I guess more broadly, like I feel like do you think like what do you think the role of social media is right now in terms of like music and the music industry?
I can speak on our top streaming single, kind of came to be off of a video that we posted, and it blew up. It was one of our first videos to ever blow up of our own playing. We used to post a lot of just dumb meme stuff, whether it was like me eating like a double cheeseburger or something, or like I don't know, it was all dumb
Yeah.
stuff.
It was just like straight humor and less music focused.
But then we wrote this song off of this video that blew up and just kind of kept pushing that through social media. And I think that our social media has kind of revolved around this strategy of posting different clips of our songs, unreleased, released. And if people take a hold of that 10-second clip, really pushing that, and we've seen it convert to listens on our Spotify. We've seen it convert to people actually being fans and not just scrolling through reels and being like, oh, that's funny, give it a like. Like we're seeing like followers now and like people actually paying attention to us.
Mhm.
So it's kind of shifted from getting as many views as we can to like taking advantage of those views and converting them into people who want to listen to our music, people who want to buy tickets, people who want to buy merch. Like,
Yeah, I think like we hadn't had too much show experience until maybe in the last year or so outside of our college experience. So, for example, we went to Texas a couple months ago for our first headline shows there, and our Houston show, um, pretty much everybody that walked through the door was like, "Oh, I saw you on TikTok, I saw you on Instagram," and I just fell in love with the music, and now I'm here and bought a shirt and we're signing autographs, and like that was kind of the proof of concept that we needed to know that it, even with the thousands of people online, if we can get just a percentage of those people to show up at these shows and be super fans and really active participants in our music, then what we're doing is working. But and like to answer your question, just generally, how is social media and music integrated? I mean, at this point, it almost feels like it's inseparable. I mean, we wouldn't be where we are today pursuing it to this degree without the success that we've had on social media, the doors that it opens, even as like kind of superficial as the numbers look, it definitely helps a lot to just have that padding to show someone that in their eyes you are doing something. So yeah, it's in a lot of ways it's definitely got us to the spot where we are today. So we're very thankful for that, and to have had success on there already.
That's so sick. Was the song that went viral on TikTok, Maybe It's You? Was it?
Mhm.
Oh yeah, got it, got it. It's so
It
good. It's so good. And
started as the shroom riff, and now it's really.
the shroom rip,
All right. I
yes.
didn't.
That's so incredibly valid. But yeah, in terms of like unreleased music, I know that a couple of artists like I don't know, I think the girls who love Gracie Abrams are like really big on like getting her to release her unreleased snippets that are going viral on social media. And it's an overall trend that we've been seeing that's very interesting considering that a lot of users as well also like trying to gatekeep music. They're like, I need the song before TikTok took it and made it famous, if you know what I mean. So it's like a double-edged sword almost, like if you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, that gatekeeping thing is definitely real. Like we will
Oh
get
yeah.
comments a lot of times, like, just posting here to say I was here when, or like I was here first and I never really was like that myself, but I do a lot of the comment like moderation and responding to people, so I kind of just start to see these trends more, and it is interesting how like excited people are to say like they have their stake in like the product before they believe, it's gonna blow up. But and also it's a cool feeling for us to make it feel like they're closer to us as like as real fans and not just like somebody that saw a post with 1 million views. So yeah, it's a very interesting kind of thing. I don't know. Do you ever do stuff like that? Like I was never like that. Like
I mean, I definitely have like artists that I've followed like every single release, but like I don't know, I've never been one to be like fighting with people in the comments like, "Oh, I was here,
right.
album one." So,
Yeah, so I'm better than you. Yeah.
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 Do you do that, Carter?
I mean, like sometimes like I don't know. Sometimes you have to. Maybe
Yeah.
not, like, in the comments, but like maybe just like to
Mm.
your friends.
Oh yeah, definitely to my friends.
Fair
Oh
enough.
yeah.
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 I
Fair
also
enough.
feel like the unreleased thing is like really big in like the underground rap scene.
Mm,
Mm.
I feel like yeah, it's interesting that moved over to like more pop.
right.
Um, but you guys said that you just headlined your first shows in Texas. I guess and then now you're going on tour with Bermuda Search Party. Is
Yeah.
that I guess like how are you preparing for that? How are you thinking about that? And what's your experience, I guess, playing shows in sort of like a more um I guess professional like post college, but also like on a larger
Mhm.
yeah.
I would say like there's a lot more preparation that goes into it that has just become more apparent as we've kind of been doing it longer. Like for a while, it was just like, all right, let's get our set and then hit the road. But now it's like, all right, we gotta have lodging for all these places.
Oh
We
yeah.
gotta have enough merch that for every show we're not gonna run out. So we just put in a pretty fat merch order for this run. Um, Now we're trying to figure out if we want to buy a van before we leave because this has kind of been something we've been talking about. So we're not using our own cars anymore.
Mm.
And so it's just a lot of stuff that you have to think about as it becomes more of a profession. Like, how are we saving money? How are we eating on the road? How are we like staying in the most affordable spots that aren't going
Mhm.
to have one of us sleeping on the ground?
Yeah.
Like,
But with what friends you know in each city whose parents might put you up for
Oh
a night.
yeah, that's so
Yeah,
real.
it's like a very we kind of take a very blunt approach. Like, we're starting out on the road for the first time really in this past year and just like doing whatever we can to come out at least even and hopefully make a few bucks. But I think in this role specifically being a support act for 7 shows, this is kind of the first time we've ever done that um on like a full tour and definitely the longest we've been on the road. So it's gonna be really interesting to see how that's like, especially like, you don't want to, as a support, you kind of want to hype the crowd up, but also you still want people to like your set, but you don't want to make it feel like it's your headline night, and there's kind of just finding the balance of what it's like to be an opener on a shorter set and seeing, we're still promoting it and we see people buying tickets and it's going to be cool to meet the fans that come for us, but
Mm.
also maybe hoping to grab a couple new fans in each spot as well for the exposure aspect. So kind of excited to see what that's like and also to connect with Bermuda Search Party as well because I hear they're great people and kind of get to learn from their experience because they've been doing a lot more road stuff than we have. So it's gonna be really cool opportunity.
You do you know where you're staying in Ithaca?
No,
Oh,
I think we might be going back to Rochester,
Mm.
um, because I think we have a place to stay, but I'm trying to find that out now. I think we know a lot more people in Rochester. We don't know as many in Ithaca. So,
wait,
but
come to Cornell dorms. Like you could
yeah,
you always
yeah.
ask those students. Like, come on.
Yeah, I mean, we have the connect now, so we might be hitting you up in a
Yeah.
couple of weeks. So we'll see. But yeah, I think we're gonna be able to find a spot for most of these cities. So, but there's a couple like I don't think we know anyone in Amos, Iowa, or only in Illinois. So,
Hmm.
but it's part of the gig. It's only going to get better from here, and we know that. But we're just excited to finally really get some road experience. I think it's something we've all wanted to do for a long time, and like was a huge factor in the reason to move to Nashville. So it definitely feels like a kind of step up the ladder, and one of the goals getting crossed off to start. So.
Do you feel like you guys already get sick of each other on the tour? Be so real.
We lived together for
Yeah.
3 years.
Wow. Oh,
Yeah.
So
wow.
Not only that, we lived together during COVID for, when it was pretty much the four of us against the world. So I think at this point, we're pretty much locked in for not having any issues. And if they are, then usually don't know about it.
yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty good about kind of handling our stuff. But yeah, I mean we're at this point I consider ourselves more like brothers than
Mm.
bandmates or friends. Like you know, we see each other pretty much every day. I especially me and Pop, we tour with the same two artists, so
Oh,
pretty
God.
much are together every day, if not on the road and in the house. So
Yeah.
Wait, that's so cool that you like literally have essentially grown up together, like kind of like from the college stage to like where you are now on your like first tour.
yeah.
I wanted to ask, how do you think just working with each other has influenced your personal and professional growth as like artists and just as people?
Interesting.
I think that, I mean, not to like toot the band's horn or like that,
It can be
but
a little,
yeah,
yeah.
I think that the three dudes in the band besides myself, not to say that I'm a bad musician, but I think that they're three of the best 24-year-old musicians in the world. And so it's really taught me how to listen to other musicians, and it's also taught me what it's like to not play with those three. It's not always quite as fun, but um I don't know. It's really taught me how to like listen to other people because in Pump Action, we're always making room for each other to show our stuff. And if you're just playing over everyone else and no one wants to hear that, it's just noise at that point. So
Mm.
it's definitely given me room to step back a little bit and kind of let everyone else speak to their instrument.
Yeah, I think professionally too, just like working with the same four people for almost 6 years now, which is insane. I think you just learning how to, everybody's kind of their own personalities and how to balance each other's personalities in a way that, we see it very much as like running a business, as much as it's fun and music first. The business aspect can't be ignored, and we get together quite often just for business meetings and really like kind of run it as much as a business as possible. And I think by doing that, I've just kind of learned a lot about how to balance each other's emotions and kind of read what somebody's saying, maybe under the lines, and like see how we can help each other in ways that's very professional and collaborative. And um, I think we've found a lot of kind of like efficiency things over the years about just how to like run the ship tighter. Whether it's, starting a separate band group chat on a different platform, so everything's running through that, or, we kind of really like delegated and carved out our roles as each band member, whether, it's running the books or the merch or like connecting with bands or, like we just kind of learned how to over the years like become a business and understand each other. And I think it's what has been one of the major keys to our success, um to and how we've gotten to this point so far. Yeah.
So wholesome.
Yeah.
Wait, I want to start a band with my best friends now. That's like
You
that's
should.
the dream.
But
That's the dream. But in terms of just, it was really great to hear about how your career has been shaped by each other. And also, I wanted to just kind of ask in terms of finding your individual sound. Like, if you're constantly like working with each other and other people, where do you find the time to like hone your solo craft? Because I know that a lot of my friends are in orchestra because they're in classical music, and I'm in theater actually. So it's like this idea of ensemble and
Sure.
learning from each other and letting people take the stage when you have to step back is like very familiar to me. But I just wanted to ask a little bit more about like your solo careers, but also just like your individual sound and your individual inspirations and how you kind of manage that.
Person that or
it's a tough question.
yeah. I mean, I think for me, like my weirdly enough, and I don't think this is what most people would say that live in Nashville, but I don't know how familiar you are with Nashville, but like do you know about Broadway and like kind of how the so like downtown Nashville, right? You have Broadway, like hundreds of bars playing gigs
Yeah.
literally from 10 a.m. to 2 a.m. every single day. Um, and for most people like in town it's kind of like their dry like day-to-day work if you're a freelance musician, um just getting working on tips and getting paid you're and doing a lot of shows like that just kind of during the week and then hopefully going out and doing touring on the weekends if that's where you're at in your career. And for me, like I actually find it's sort of to be like liberating to be on Broadway because, Pump Action, we have a very tight set. Some of the other artists I play with where we're running the same music over and over. So when I'm doing these Broadway gigs and kind of picking up side work here and there with other artists, like I almost see it as my practice to kind of get a second to try some new things or maybe just like hear some new ideas from other people and then bring it back to the band. And I feel like it's sort of an opposite idea for a lot of people. I feel like Broadway sort of has like this negative connotation for a lot of musicians, but sometimes for me, it actually helps me get out of my comfort zone, to get back into it and apply that with the band. But it is interesting, like when you just play the drums, like me being the drummer, like just playing the drums completely independent of work, which gets harder and harder to do once you're a working musician, and like just finding that like initial reason and spirit behind why you play your instrument,
Mhm.
not just to travel with a band and tour and make money, but just to do it for the pure enjoyment. It's important to do that and come back to that.
Yeah. So you were originally in classical percussion? Is that
I wasn't originally, but it was kind of tangent. Like I was a total classical percussion nerd in high school.
I love
Uh,
that.
but I was on that whole like districts, regionals, like states grind
Mhm.
along with everything else. And then I kind of shoehorn that to stick with the drumming and drum set stuff for college, but I do have a soft spot for it, and I do miss playing it a lot. But it was also really foundational in me as a player, and
Mhm.
also just as I think understanding your role in 100 people at one time versus four changes a lot, and how you approach your instrument too. So yeah, I don't know if that was helpful or not, but yeah.
No, I just think when I was early on in college, I don't remember who said this to me. I think it was one of the professors. It was like,
Mhm.
you want to have your own sound. And there's a lot of people that can like mimic how, I don't know, John Mayer plays guitar or how anyone plays guitar. But I really think that um, just doing music as long as we've been doing music and not being afraid to step into situations that maybe we're not the most comfortable with, like on a gig with, I don't know, a folk artist or like a gig that's like fusion. It's just adding to your sound because you're gonna take pieces of that music, even if you didn't love doing the gig, like that is going to show up in your playing in some way, somehow. So I think that just doing it as long as we four have been doing it and just being open to different things has created an individual sound that we each have. Because I don't know anyone that plays guitar like Trent plays guitar, and I don't know anyone that plays drums the way Jack plays drums. And Spencer has his own unique voice as well. And
And pop on bass.
yeah, so it's just, I really think that it's cool when and you can distinguish a player by the way they
Mm.
sound, like beyond their voice, which is obviously telling. But
Hmm.
I mean, you can tell when John Mayer's playing guitar, like
Right.
it sounds like John Mayer.
Mm.
So
I guess to wrap things up, you guys have a new-ish, kind of new, or it's a couple months old now, single, Euphoria, which we're gonna be playing on the station for the next probably month or so.
Sweet.
Um, so yeah, to get people ready for your show. But if you guys could just sort of talk about that, or like, I get the process of recording and songwriting original songs, and if you have any other releases coming out in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that one was one that we've been playing for years live. It was a song that our singer mainly wrote, I think probably freshman year of college
It was
Oh,
and
sophomore.
wow.
sophomore year. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, so it is an oldie, but that we started to play it live and kind of came up with this live arrangement that we really liked, and it just sort of became a crowd favorite over the years. Um, and I think we kind of knew we wanted to release it, but then a video of it, sort of in that Snapchat style, um, went massively viral on Instagram, and it kind of like kicked us in the butt a little bit. Like, all right, we need to get this out because people are listening to it right now and really like what they hear live. Um, so we pumped it out as quick as possible, and I think we're all really proud of it. And I really like the horn arrangement on it, which was done by our friend Daniel Fiamengo. It's fantastic, and it really gives that like Stevie Wonder kind of superstition, like early '70s vibe. That's really cool. Um, and yeah, I love playing that one live. I think it's probably my favorite one to play live right now, to be honest. Just,
Probably.
um, yeah. In terms of new releases, we have nothing officially planned, but we've been writing a ton of new music over the past couple months that we're really excited about, and not sure when it's going to roll out exactly, but definitely will be some releases this year.
And for those that come out to this show, we will be playing a
Yeah,
lot of that new music. We just don't have it out yet.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a couple songs on YouTube as well that are unreleased on all streaming platforms. But one of our songs, Broken Container, you can find on our page. That was one of our Tiny Desk submissions that we've done. And this tune, When I Thought You Were the One, we did for this YouTube series called Circle Up Sessions that our roommate does a great job with. So there's some kind of hidden ones you could find if you go down the rabbit hole a little bit. But yeah, but we're excited for these new tunes. I think they're a cool sound and definitely a little bit of a different direction. Um, so I can't wait to get those out eventually.
Thank you guys so much for making the time. We really love talking to you. And just as a reminder, you're listening to WVBR FM 93.5 Ithaca's Alternative, or WVBR.com, and this is Pump Action. Go to their show. It's on April 5th at 8 p.m. at Deep Dive. So make sure to